my favorite sinks.
Fortnite Battle Royale, the monumental blockbuster Battle Royale game that came out in 2017 and has been going on somewhat strong ever since. Home to many players, both incredibly new and also incredibly petty.
If you leave this game right now, I will not report you.
But otherwise, welcome back to another commentary video on the Bradmas channel. Today we're going to be discussing a pretty delicate topic, and by delicate I mean this is a topic that pretty much everyone is touched upon at least once or twice, and that is regarding if term sweats are ruining Fortnite as a whole. Now, if you don't know what sweats are in terms of Fortnite, essentially if you shoot this person once, they will build something that the average player is completely incapable of replicating. As in, let's say you shoot someone once and then they put up a massive 50-foot wall. That's basically the equivalent of a sweat. They may also crouch up and down as this glitches out the hitbox somewhat, and they will usually rock a female's skin due to the myth that their hitbox is smaller. But overall, all you need to really know is that a sweat is someone who tries incredibly hard in a casual mode. And the reason why I wanted to discuss this is because not too long ago, this is the new season of Fortnite, I said that the game was more fun than it ever been before. And part of that reason was because of a lack of sweats. But most of the part being that everyone was on a somewhat even level, and that every fight was balanced, whether it was bullshit or whether it wasn't. Everyone was on an equal playing field. And then 2 to 3 days later, the balance got completely tipped on its head, and the sweats returned once again. Now this is a problem that has always plagued Fortnite. Every time a new season would come out, it'd start off fine for a couple of days, but then the game would get fucking dragged through the mud because there's a lot of tryhards and sweats in the lobby. And for some reason, they decide to camp in a casual mode rather than going into arena or just anything else. And because of that, a lot of people ditch the game. It's a very prevalent problem, and I don't think there's any way of stopping it, because you can't tell someone to stop playing the game. That's just stupid. So why are sweats ruining this game? Well, let me go into a bit of detail. Firstly, they are presenting a massive, gigantic skill gap in the player base. Essentially, if you just got the game, you would be completely powerless against these players. And you just basically get curb stomped until you played 40, 50 more matches. Now, the average player, at least as far as I know, is not going to sit there for 50 matches losing every single time. People get annoyed, people stop playing. It's just as simple as that. So if new players can't enter the game without at least a fighting chance, then what hope have they got to keep playing? Why are they going to keep playing a game where they obviously stand no chance? And even when improving, they stand no chance. It's just, why would you continue putting yourself through that kind of torture? Another reason why sweats are ruining the game is because of the unbalanced combat situations. Let's put this into perspective, right? You see an enemy, or 2 enemies, or 3, you get the deal. You shoot one with a sniper rifle and do 90 shield damage. And then when you go for another shot, he just immediately starts building up a tower, and you can't hit him. And when he does try and pick his head out, he just builds towards you at a level that's even more complicated than the average player. And then when you're trying to find out where he went, he is above you, he edits down to you, and then he shotguns you in the face, and then you lose. That is such a massive skill gap that most players can't keep up with. And when you're trying to play this game, especially having a laugh with your friends, and you just have these kind of players just in your way, you can't enjoy the game, that's going to put a lot of people off of this game. And I mean a lot. If you don't remember, skill-based matchmaking was a thing back in a few months ago, I think, or last year. I'm not too sure, but I remember it being a prevalent thing. And you had a lot of content creators and a lot of, obviously, sweats complaining about it. And the reason why they complained about it is because they were being put up against people that were even sweatier than they were. And so they cried and cried to Epic Games until eventually skill-based matchmaking was scrapped as a whole. Hell, you even had some players making entirely new accounts. Sweats were literally picking on players who could barely win a game just because they didn't like skill-based matchmaking. And my last point, at least for now, is that the sweats just do not allow you to have fun. Now, one of my strongest points is the new web slingers. The web slingers are obviously part of the Spider-Man collab, and they're a very popular exotic traversal item. Now, a lot of people want to use them, and obviously they've been renowned for their really fun traversal aspect. However, when a sweat sees you having fun with these web slingers, they will do their absolute damnedest to make sure you die. And if they have web slingers themselves, they will actively follow you until you die, basically ensuring that you cannot have fun whatsoever. Or let's say you're just fucking around on the quad bike, for example, like you're boosting into the sky with the quad bike. If a sweat sees you on a quad bike, he will waste no time lasering not just you, but the quad bike itself, so the quad bike explodes and you have no quad bike to, fuck around with. I could go into more detail, but this is just the general thesis of the whole thing. Essentially, sweats are just the equivalent of you're going to die and you're not going to have fun anymore. That's it. I made a tweet on Twitter and I asked people, do you think sweats are killing the game? Or alternatively, do you think they're not killing the game? And I had a lot of responses, majority of them saying that yes they do, with a few saying, well, no they don't. One response from Leroy, he says, I believe they do ruin the game with the amount of building they do, and the kind of editing tricks they do to try and get a slight upper hand. Not to mention they'll use every broken item they can to try along with just immediately go for first kills all the time. And this is also a valid point, like, you will often see them 9 times out of 10 use the SMG and the AR instead of the shotgun. Because that's the meta now. It's called a spray meta, where basically single shot weapons are just completely pointless because the SMGs and ARs fire too quick for the shotguns to even matter. Another person here, Shigu, he says, many times sweats complain about weapons and such to the point of them getting nerfed to shit or straight up removed. Fortnite is stupid. Let it be stupid. It's a bad idea to have this entire game decided by just one group of people. Now obviously that last sentence is a very valid point. It's a very bad idea to let an entire game be controlled by a certain demographic. You shouldn't have to be experienced to have your say in the game. And you shouldn't have skill dedicate what should be and shouldn't be good in the game. Because that's just not fun. Like if you remember when mechs were around, not reintroduced by the way, I mean like first introduced, so many people complained about how disgustingly OP the fucking mech was. Mainly because sweats couldn't combat it. They just had no way of fighting back, unless they were considerably sweaty. Silverrain says here, deadass, the point where I see people building insta-forts is akin to an infinite combo in Xenoverse 2. There's no enjoyment from shit from being one-sided. If this is what I wanted from the game, I'd go to arena mode, which is also another valid point. If you wanted to face people who are going to try their hardest to win, there's a mode dedicated to that, and it's called arena mode. Yet, for some reason, these people just invade casual mode or normal battle royale. To the point where, why would you bother playing if the skill gap is considerably large, or if you can't improve enough, then you stand no chance? Another one from Vanquish, he said, I stopped playing Fortnite for that exact reason. Now, this is something I touched upon earlier. A lot of players, myself included for a very long time, dropped the game completely because of sweats. Like if you may or may not have seen on my other channel, Brad Mouse, a lot of my videos where we don't even get a single win because we get eliminated by sweats. And a lot of the matches don't even make it into the videos because, well, it's just us getting some stuff and then dying to builders. So for Vanquish to touch upon that, this is the reason why he dropped the game. It just goes to show that sweats are having such an impact on the game that people are completely stopping playing it just because it's that bad. One from God Halo Ducky, he says, I shouldn't have to grind out the ability to play in the Grand Cup finals in a casual love it. I'm just a guy who plays the game because I unironically enjoy it to hell and back. And while I haven't encountered as many sweats as I did in Chapter 2, there's still a pain in the ass. And again, another valid point. You shouldn't have to be such a level of skill in the game to be able to compete. You should be able to have a fair and balanced matchup. If you die to something that's not editing and building. And you shouldn't be outmatched, especially in a fucking casual lobby. But Freddy says here, I do think they are ruining the game. Like back in Chapter 2 Season 8, literally all people did was box you in and one-shot you with a pump. Also, what I find stupid is the amount of building and editing they do to get one kill. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't care if you're building to defend yourself. When you're building the Statue of Liberty in 2 seconds after hearing one gunshot, then you just need to step outside for a moment and touch grass. Yeah, and again, another valid point. I've seen this happen, by the way. Like, this sounds ridiculous, but there are genuine players out there who will literally build gigantic towers and structures because of one gunshot that didn't even hit them. And what Freddy's referring to, this bucks you in one shot you with a pump, that is still prevalent, by the way, except instead of a pump shotgun, it's an SMG. Players will literally build around you and then swiftly edit to drop into you, or edit the stairs to be able to get themselves cover and you no cover. Basically too fast for you to react, or the average player to react, and you basically just, you might as well not even try at that point. Chemical Plays says here a pretty interesting point. The game evolved, and as the game evolved, some of the player base got left behind and can't keep up. Fortnite is a very advanced game with multiple mechanics to master, and if you can't keep up, quite frankly, you will get absolutely obliterated. It's like any other game. If you don't want to get sweated on, then you have to become a sweat. The sweat's in every game because Fortnite is so advanced. People just can't be bothered to learn all the mechanics of Fortnite. And while everyone else is practicing and getting better, people who aren't putting in the time will just lose and get killed. Now, on the one hand, I do agree that if you want to beat the better people, you have to be better. But on the other hand, I shouldn't have to be better to dedicate a lot of my time just to have fun with a game. I shouldn't have to try just to be able to have a laugh with my friends. I shouldn't have to be a tournament winner just to be able to throw fireflies around and laugh at them. I shouldn't be able to compete in the grand finals again, like earlier, just to have fun with a game. There's such a massive skill gap that any fun factor in this game is just completely non-existent, especially with the sweats mixed in with the lava. Last point from Symbiotic 2099. I don't blame people for being sweaty. I mean, everyone's gonna get good like that eventually. Fortnite really just needs to fucking fix the matchmaking. You have people who just started mixed in with people who know how to build a fucking hotel. And again, this is something I touched upon earlier. I mentioned that when you load into a casual lobby, or just normal battle royale, you could be even new, or been playing since chapter 1. Meaning that the fucking skill gap, again, I've mentioned this multiple times, but, you know, the point still stands. The skill gap is so vast that any hopes of a newer player being able to net a win is just completely unrealistic. Unless the game is full of bots, that player is not going to win once. Especially if paired in with sweats like this. But yeah, thank you for everyone who submitted a comment on that post, by the way. If you want to keep up with my stuff, my Twitter's in the description. And I will occasionally put out a post like this. I occasionally put out a post where I want to hear your input. And if you comment on them, you might be in a video. You never know, just consider it. But all in all, I'd say that sweats absolutely ruined Fortnite. Because of the skill gap, because of the unfair gameplay, and because of the fact that there's so many of them that you encounter, it's impossible to not deal with this problem. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Fortnite is completely ruined by sweats? Do you think there'll be a way to combat them in the future? Or alternatively, do you think they're not ruining the game? Let me know. I want to see some discussion. I'm always welcome to discussion and criticism. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all in the next video.